in El Paso, Texas, summer of 1998. He defended it successfully twice, then fought against Johnston again in Miami, and Johnston reversed the results of the first fight, winning a decision to take the title back. So Bazan is trying to recapture a title that once he held, because Johnston, after taking this title back from Bazan, ultimately lost it to the man you'll see coming into the ring next, José Luis Castillo.
And Bazan says he never heard of Castillo before Castillo won the title.
And that puts him in good and populous company, because if Bazan was little known before he won the title, Castillo was totally anonymous. There's the record for Cesar: 38 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 26 of the wins by KO, hoping to become a lightweight titleist again. Bazan is from Mexico City. The opponent, Castillo, is from the town of Mexicali. He says Mexicali is so hot that that's where you go to prepare to go to hell, and hell is cooler.
He also has a rather unique interpretation or definition of what a family unit is. One I'm sure that the administration that had its inaugural in Washington today would not look happily upon. He says his family unit is his wife, his lover, and his 2 children.
He said it with a smile, Larry. I'm not sure that he wasn't kidding. He was, through much of his career, the preferred sparring partner of Julio Cesar Chavez. He spent 4 years largely working with Chavez, preparing Chavez for big fights, and then emerged from total obscurity to beat Stevie Johnston, win the title, and retain it by getting a draw with Johnston in his second fight. The overall record: 41 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 37 KOs. Castillo is regarded as the bigger puncher of the 2. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino of Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beer, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present World Championship Boxing. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. Elias Ghanem, Vice Chairman Dr. Luther Mack, Commissioners Amy Ayub, Glenn Carano, and Dr. Flip Omansky, Executive Director Mark Ratner. The 3 judges assigned to this world title bout, scoring the contest on the 10-point must system, will be Carol Castellano, Lou Filippo, and Chuck Williams. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Vic Draculich. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Lightweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white and weighing in at 134.5 pounds. His professional record: 38 victories, including 26 knockouts, with 3 losses and 1 draw. From Ciudad de Mexico, here is the #1 ranked WBC challenger in the world, the former WBC.
This is for the WBC lightweight title. You received your instructions addressing this time. Any questions? Preguntas. Preguntas. Okay. Remember, obey my command, protect yourselves at all times. Good luck to both of you.
This figures to be a good action fight. One of the reasons we're interested in it is because either the winner or the loser of the main event tonight will probably wind up fighting the winner here.
Because, of course, the main event takes place at 130 pounds, but both participants there look down the road toward their probable ascension to the lightweight division in the not too terribly distant future. In fact, Diego Corrales says, I'm fighting for the last time at 130 tonight. Bazan could conceivably go higher in weight at some point, given that he's 6 feet, but he's always been comfortable in the lightweight division and says that it's still not all that difficult for him to make weight. Bazan is the boxer here. Castillo is the banger who wants to get inside.
Bazan has already established the superior jab. If he can maintain that and keep moving as he does it, he can stay ahead. Castillo has got to get close, stay close, and try to get into the body so that the taller man can drop his hands.
In his 2 fights against Johnston, Bazan was surprising in his ability to fight on the inside. For a guy who's rangy with such long arms, he's got a nice little inside left hook and does reasonably well in there. Although he did say that it's in his best interest to keep Castillo at distance if he can.
First power right hand by Bazan.
Not a big puncher, Bazan. Not a particularly big puncher. The 26 knockouts on his record, mostly via accumulated punishment. Castillo with repeated use of the little left hook inside. Hey, you work day after day with Julio Cesar Chavez, you're going to throw left hooks.
And he actually jabs, gets in position, and turns it right into a little uppercut type hook.
There's a chant of Castillo, Castillo from behind his corner. Mexicali, of course, a border town, not too terribly distant from California. So some of Castillo's supporters made their way up. In both corners, they speak Spanish. So when we go to the corners between rounds, we have our ace interpreter, Ray Garcia, on hand. Ray Torres, excuse me. Ray Torres on hand. Clean shot inside for Castillo with that little left hook slash uppercut, as you pointed out, George.
That elbow behind the head, you don't want to accumulate a lot of those. Behind the neck.
¿Cómo lo sentiste? ¿Cómo lo sentiste? A ver, jala mucho aire primero.
How did you feel? He said a little bit with the jab. You know how you caught the punches. Now you have to do something.
Un balde para tirar al agua.
Spit it out. Give me a bucket.
Hay que seguir manejando la izquierda.
You gotta keep moving your left hand.
Hay que tratar de tumbarle a la izquierda cuando te la maneje.
Dale el aire.
Get some air. Breathe in.
Que para la otra, Rafael, para la otra. Muy bien, muy bien.
Very well.
Siempre para tu derecha.
You always got to go to your right. Move to your right. And when you move in, don't just throw the right. Throw the right underneath.
By CompuBox numbers in round one, 45 of Bazan's 60 punches were jabs as he attempted the strategy of keeping Castillo out at range. Castillo took his time, wasn't trying to land hard stuff, just sort of looked to get inside and make contact from time to time. And toward the end of the round, he was inside.
Bazan corner told him to come up a little bit with the shots, which is important. You're fighting a shorter guy. You want to make sure you're throwing uppercuts and hooks, everything from in the uppercut position. Jab, but take him under because he ducks right into them. Castillo does.
Bazan with a good left hook. Castillo trying to jab his way in. Fight is being fought at a pace that appears to be very good for Cesar Bazan, and he lands 2 right hands over the top. This is a moderate pace. Castillo not yet able to apply the kind of pressure that forces Bazan to vary his rhythm.
Castillo hasn't landed a lot of body shots. That was the first right hand to the side. That starts to tell.
Bazan comes back with 2 lefts to the body himself.
But Castillo has to establish, look, I'm taking it out of your body so that your left hand can come down. You don't want to jab. You're going to start throwing it wild. And Castillo, once he gets the distance close in, he's got to stop giving it up. You get close and stay close if you're the shorter opponent. Whoops.
Come up. Fight.
Another right to the body.
Referee is
Castillo.
Vic Drakulic, asking him to keep him up.
When you see a boxer start moving from side to side along the ropes after he's been good with his jab, that means he's gotten something that's gotten hurt there. I believe
So
that right to the
Castillo's
side.
making a statement to the body with
yes,
the right
he's
hand.
gone to the body with that right hand early enough.
It's a right hand on the chin for Bazan, and he comes back with a double left hook. Castillo pumps the right over the top and comes back to the ribcage again.
Well, Castillo, he's the one who want to make sure it turns into a fight, a real war. You don't want this to be a boxing match. It could be all night.
Well, in the last minute of the round, José Luis Castillo was able to step up the tempo and put more pressure on Cesar Bazan. And here's something unusual, George. Since arriving at the arena a couple hours ago, Diego Corrales has had what we appeared to be a club sandwich, and there was a peanut butter sandwich as well. So peanut butter, then turkey for Corrales, all within the couple of hours before he's going into the ring. What do you make of that?
Duran. Roberto Duran.
Roberto Duran in New Orleans.
Big meal before the nomas.
So it sounds like a bad idea.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I understand he ate a half of a sandwich of each of them. But it is curious. We talked about him fighting welterweight, or lightweight. My guess is when he weighs in unofficially tonight, he'll be about a junior middleweight.
That tells you about the weakness of losing weight like that.
Corrales had already made the decision to go away from 130 and up to 135, then reversed his course and decided to come back down to take this fight against Mayweather. Copy box numbers through round 2. Castillo 35 out of 100. Bazan 43 out of 121.
You can see the fight is getting closer and closer. There's been less of a jab by Bazan. Bazan is using less of a jab. He's starting to sit down on his punches. Castillo should take advantage of this now. The advantage is gone with the longer arms. It's disappeared.
Well, Bazan generally doesn't use his height very much like Corrales, in fact, but he's not as big a hitter as Corrales. He likes to fight inside.
The first couple of rounds, he did a good job of using that left jab and throwing that overhand right.
Which probably was the plan. But of course, fighters will eventually revert in most instances to whatever it is they most naturally and comfortably do. And that appears to be, as Larry points out, what Bazan is doing. If you've seen Cesar Bazan before, then you expect that at some point he'll allow the opponent to come inside and fight with him in there, because he's not uncomfortable doing it against most opponents.
Referees better take note that Bazan is using his right elbow throwing these shots. Fist is not landing, but the side of the elbow forearm is.
And there's a red spot above the lip of Cesar Bazan on the left side of his face, and Castillo getting more aggressive in there. Castillo, by admission, is a classic brawler. He wants to get shoulder to shoulder with his opponent and fire away.
Break! Let's go. Watch, keep punches up. Let's go.
Well, it's good that a referee move around these boxers from side to side. If you just work one side, they know you're there and they'll work you.
But Harold Letterman points out one interesting element of the Nevada State Athletic Commission's choice of Vic Drakulic for referee. Neither fighter speaks English, and Drakulic doesn't speak Spanish.
Well, he seems to speak boxing. And that's an interesting observation, George. I never heard of talking about a referee who moves from side to side.
You got to look on one side because they will use you. They'll work below the belt.
When you're on one side or the other.
Bazan, he watches him, and that's the elbow again, you see. The referee hasn't taken note to it. Eventually, he'll open a cut over the right eye
Well, shouldn't Castillo complain then?
Sometimes you're a proud champion, you just keep fighting. Look.
Castillo with one last left hand at the end of the round. The action heating up in this lightweight bout, and in Floyd Mayweather's dressing room, he's not eating, he's dancing and singing with his gang. It's a group sing in the Mayweather dressing room.
El trabajo de él. La media para arriba es a tu distancia. No te quedes adentro. No tienen por qué quedarte adentro.
You can't be inside. You have to be at a distance, and that's your best bet. Don't let him get so close.
Exacto, un pasito para atrás.
Yeah, move back a little bit, and then come in with your right hand. The right hand is working beautiful.
Second down.
Round 3 numerically was a big one for José Luis Castillo. He landed 29 punches by CompuBox numbers, 25 of them power shots. And you heard Cesar Bazan's cornerman telling him, go back to staying at distance and use your jab. Harold Letterman, how'd you score the first 3?
Okay, Jim. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28. Cesar Bazan. You know, Jim, the first 2 rounds, he absolutely outboxed him without question. José Luis Castillo just wasn't busy enough. But in the 3rd round, José Luis Castillo got in, started moving his hands, bagged him around, and now he seems to be in control of the fight. So José Luis Castillo, just as you called it, won that 3rd round big. And I agree with George Foreman. Cesar Bazan does use that elbow.
Castillo seems to have gotten somehow quicker and stronger since the beginning of the fight.
He's established a stronger left jab now. The taller guy abandoned the jab, and he's starting to use it. He's getting closer. There's no disadvantage for him not to throw it now.
So having given away the momentum in the bout, or having had it seized from him, Bazan must now try to change the course of the fight back in his favor. Remember, this is scheduled for 12 rounds. And Bazan with a little trickle of blood below the left nostril.
You know, guys, this is a tough, grueling fight, but I still have my mind on what was going on in those dressing rooms. Has anybody ever looked in a dressing room before a fight and seen a group sing in one dressing room and guys eating in the other one?
If you hear that noise when you're in the dressing room preparing for a boxing match and you hear the other corner and they're making and dancing like that, it makes you run to the bathroom.
It does?
It scares the death out of you. You don't want to hear other guy having a party when you're sitting there with the shake.
It makes you feel like they're relaxed and ready to go, huh?
Yeah, you think, hey, they're in there relaxed. I'm scared to death. I better go back to the restroom.
But how much more relaxed can you be than eating a peanut butter sandwich?
Incidentally, I'm told that Larry was 1,000% correct in saying that Corrales had half a peanut butter sandwich and half the turkey club.
That's a lot better.
So now we're accurate.
Okay, he'll only be a welterweight tonight.
His nutritionist, Alex Ariza, suggested that he wanted Diego to come in at 142. We'll see what the official or the unofficial scale tells us when he enters the ring.
You see, if the referee doesn't keep his eye on these boxers, this can turn into a dirty elbow slinging, below the belt punching fight. The referee seems to doesn't have any clue at all.
Double left hook to the body by Bazan.
That's his elbow,
missing
man,
upstairs.
Back. Castillo's throwing his elbow in retaliation. All out of the sight of the referee.
Castillo's punches seem to be tolling a bigger effect.
No question about that. And Cesar Bazan must be aware now that he's being scrutinized by referee Vic Drakulic after these instances in the first 3 rounds of the fight. Elbow to the back of the neck by Bazan in round number 1. Drakulic saying don't do that. Then a low blow in round number 2. And Drakulic warning him not to hit low blows. And then leading with the elbow in round number 3.
That was pretty cute.
So you're right, George. This is a challenge to the referee, and so far he's been more than up to the task.
Oh, he doesn't even have a clue to what's going on.
Que lo está cerrando todo, te está quedando abierto. Y ahí es donde aprovecha él. ¿Ok? Vamos.
Let's go. Let's go, guys.
Once again in round 4, CompuBox numbers favoring José Luis Castillo, who landed 26 punches to only 13 counted for Bazan.
Break. Go, come on, break.
Harold Letterman agrees and now has the fight even on his scorecard, a third of the way in. Bazan seemingly trying to put more steam in his punches now.
He was able to land a good, effective left hook.
But Castillo's one of those guys who just takes what you throw and keeps on coming.
Those uppercuts Bazan manager told him to use are starting to pay off a little bit.
Changing the tempo of the bout slightly, back into favor of Cesar Bazan. Castillo with a low blow. Drakulic, the referee, was on the other side. Good straight right hand inside by Bazan. Castillo lands a little left hook inside.
They're both brave men.
Big left hook by Castillo, backs Bazan up.
These guys are leading with their head on most occasions. They haven't shown much defense at all.
It was another low blow cut by Castillo. This one well below the belt and right on the cuff. Bazan keeps fighting.
Those elbows can start to work against Castillo now if he's not careful. Left side of his eye starting to swell a little bit.
Castillo still trying to close the distance. Wants to fight in a phone booth. Bazan beating him to the punch most of the time in this round.
Well, the fight is on now. This is just a grueling, tough, hard-nosed fight between two grueling, tough prize fighters. Blood spilling from both fighters now. Looks from the bridge of the nose or the eye of Castillo, the nose, and perhaps the mouth of Bazan.
And the first knockdown is scored by Castillo on a sizzling left hook.
6, 7, 8.
Remember, Jim,
come to me.
Earlier before the fight, we talked about this being a left hooker's brawl and ball, and that was a great left hook.
Yep, but Bazan comes back with two straight right hands.
He's got to step around the side. You can't stand in front of him. Castillo's got to step around the side.
Great stuff.
Deme una toalla. ¿Por qué te bajaste? ¿Por qué te estás bajando? ¿Qué es lo que quieres? ¿Perder el campeonato?
Carlos.
Bueno, hay que noquearlo, pero sin que nos toque.
No puedo.
Ah, inténtelo. No me diga no puede. Ya lo sentó ahorita, ¿verdad?
Te descuidaste, mi flaco, te descuidaste. Por no hacer lo que haces caso, flaco.
You gotta
Te estás
listen.
queriendo pelear,
You
en vez de
wanna-
boxearlo, y ahí donde te cruzó
You wanna
la
fight to
izquierda,
him.
loco. No seas cabezón, flaco. Usted...
Tú ahorita se va a caer. Toma. Pues claro que sí, te está sorprendiendo.
He's surprising you.
Take a look at that left hook again. Beautiful short left hook
Great
that Bazan never saw.
Seconds down.
And now there is a serious cut, I believe, on the eyelid of Castillo. Is it Castillo?
It's the left eye of José Luis Castillo, which is beginning to swell shut. And there's a little cut, as you pointed out in the last round, Larry, on the bridge of his nose. Bazan's left eye isn't looking too good either. Round 5 was another one that favored Castillo in CompuBox numbers, 48 out of 88. 68 of the 80 punches connected on in the round were power shots.
You know, both of these fighters were unknown in the U.S. before they fought. Stevie Johnson gives you an idea of the depth of outstanding fighters in Mexico from lightweight on down.
Gives you an idea of how tough Stevie Johnston is, too, because you're looking at 48 rounds in Stevie Johnston's life with these two guys, 24 with each of them. And he gave just about as good as he got all the way through, although losing 2 of the 4 fights.
At some point, these guys are going to have to start getting some kind of defense going.
George, that's another fight. It ain't going to happen here.
Big right hand by Bazan.
Break. Go.
Whoever decides to move their head a little bit and continuously throw the shots can win this boxing match, because this thing could be won from loss of blood and too much swelling. Castillo was able to knock him down, but he threw away a lot of his energy trying to finish him.
Oh, but he landed a huge straight right there.
It'll take him almost 3 minutes to get his strength back to try and do it again.
Another left hook, and Bazan may not make it. Well, he's up.
That was a cranked half hook, half uppercut. George pointed out to you in the first round the way Castillo likes to drop his elbow and turn the left hook into an uppercut. That's exactly what he did there, and it was a beautiful shot. I'm not sure Bazan can withstand this.
The referee is watching it very closely.
Castillo did a lot of damage with that one shot. Bazan still firing. He's got a lot of guts.
Still standing in front of him, though. You got to move from side to side.
Bazan grabbing Castillo behind the head, seemingly to keep himself from falling down. Blood coming out of the nose of Bazan. Castillo raking him with power shots, and Drakulic has seen enough. Thrilling victory for José Luis Castillo.
Well, that's our first look at Castillo, and whoever wants to take him on is going to have his hands and his head full.
4 losses, but 3 of them way back much earlier in his career. And obviously in the 4 years of sparring with Chavez, he learned a lot.
3 of those losses, he says, were TKOs on cuts. And we saw him cut up tonight, so we can understand how that would have happened. But you're not going to ask for your money back after going to see him fight.
And if this was a war of wills, Castillo won it because he forced Bazan to fight his fight.
Bazan was strong. Ooh, but the rear hook, uppercut hook.
Take another look at this shot, George.
He bends right into it. That's what you want, that punch, when you want it to occur, when a guy drops his head.
Well, Castillo said that if he wasn't a prize fighter, he wanted to be a baseball player. He hit that one over the fence.
And here's the moment at which referee Victor Kulic decided that Cesar Bazan was taking too much punishment to continue. As José Luis Castillo closed the show, landing 33 of 67 power shots by CompuBox numbers in that round. And now let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the TKO.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Victor Kulic has to step in and call a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes, 54 seconds of round number 6. The winner by TKO victory, and still the WBC Lightweight Champion of the World, José Luis Castillo.
Final CompuBox numbers, and you can see the edge for Castillo as he landed 49 more shots than did Bazan. threw 3 more, landed at the higher connects percentage, particularly after the second round when he got inside in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th and was able to fire away at close range. He was exceedingly accurate, especially with power punches. He landed 70 more of those than did Bazan and threw 141 more power punches as Bazan started off the fight trying to keep Castillo away with his jab. So a big victory for José Luis Castillo. And George Foreman, there's a syndrome in the sport called the sparring partner mentality. Guys spend a lot of years sparring with big name fighters and they lose something of their confidence and their assertiveness. That certainly didn't appear to happen to José Luis Castillo in his years.
Not at all. And Bazan was a good fighter. He had a good left jab, even came back with hooks. But the other guy was just too much. Castillo, he's the champ.
No, indeed. An excellent performance by a guy about whom we had not known too much prior to this weekend, but who appears to be a force to be reckoned with for the future in the 135-pound division. Larry, final comment about Bazan and Castillo?
Well, when and if Corrales or Mayweather want to move up to 135, they'll have him as a serious obstacle, if not a wall.